Welcome to First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. I'm your host, James Gardner, certified athletic therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, yoga instructor, human being. This platform, for the pros, by the pros, anybody in the performance space, and beyond. Welcome here to share in the stories of professionals, experiences, journeys, learning along the way. It's a platform to connect, to network, and to be a part of a community that cares, with conversations that matter, experiences that resonate, and generate ideas, thought-provoking, organic dialogue, passionate pros. Brought to you as always by First Star Therapy, Mobility Tape, Epic, and Benchmark Athletics. In association with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. It's First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Welcome to First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy roundtable brought to you by First Star Therapy. I'm your host, James Gardner, and this is a platform for the pros, by the pros. Passionate pros, organic dialogue. Let's chat. Thanks for listening. Let's roll. All right, we're off to the races. Here we go. Session 59, First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy roundtable brought to you by First Star Therapy and Mobility Tape, the only heat-activated kinesiology tape on the market, also in association with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. Special guests here, Super Bowl Sunday. So we were just talking, Super Bowl has been pushed back so that we could get this in. We appreciate that nod from the NFL. Karam Al-Hamdani with CF Montreal is here. We are live. So for the live audience, thank you so much for tuning in, for dialing in, for being here, taking the time on a Sunday morning. Everybody picking this up on the podcast, on the YouTube channel after the fact. Appreciate you being here. This is how it happens. We had the AMM, the annual members meeting for the CATA yesterday online via Zoom. And I think this is a big piece. You know, this is a big piece moving forward, networking, growing, having conversations from within the community of athletic therapy and the performance space, and connecting in a time that everybody needs a little bit of additional connection. So without further ado, we'll get to Karam's bio here in a second. I'll just ask if you have any questions or concerns or comments, please type them into the chat box, those of you that are here live, and I'll filter those over to Karam towards the end of the session here. Karam Al-Hamdani, certified athletic therapist and certified strength and conditioning specialist, working with athletes at every level, including amateur, college, and professional athletes. He currently holds the position of head athletic therapist for CF Montreal, formerly known as l'Impact de Montreal, pardon my French accent, of the MLS. Prior to this role, Karam was the director of performance for Gold's Gym Prestige in the Montreal region, running a department of 7 ATs and 13 strength coaches. He's a graduate of Concordia University's Exercise Science Department, and since graduating, he has continually beefed up his knowledge of performance and the human body by engaging in continuing education courses like active release techniques, reconditioning, FMS, SFMA, corrective exercise techniques, Exos mentorships, just to name a few. A great guy, an ambassador to First Star Therapy. We've connected. He's got his First Star gear on over there on the other side of the camera. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the support as always. A pleasure to have you on board and say hello, and we'll jump right in here.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for having me.
I appreciate you being here as always, man. Your time is so valuable. Working in the pro space, getting some time at home now, I guess, in the winter months. How are things going with the off season, or is there an off season? What are things looking like since your season seemingly just wrapped up yesterday?
Yeah, seriously, tell me about it. So things have been so far so good. Yesterday, the MLS and the MLSPA reached an agreement. So there will be no lockout, and there will be a 2021 season after all. So that's a very good piece of information. In terms of off season, to be honest with you, I don't really feel like I had an off season per se, because yeah, even though our season ended in mid-November, I want to say we still had to train so as to compete in a Champions League matchup held in Orlando. So that took us all the way to December 16th, and quarantines in between. So you don't really get the chance to sort of just stop or unwind or step away from it all, because if you're not there, then you're home. If you're not home, then you're there. So that's pretty much how it's been going. We started January with a bang. We still had a couple of uh, athletes that were nursing some injuries from the previous season, so we started working with them, keeping us busy in prep for the 2021 season. So looking forward to it all.
Yeah, man. And we hope you can get, a little bit of time at home. Obviously that's desirable for all of us, and some downtime to relax. But the dedication from the pro sports space, we sometimes see all the glory, and I don't mean to say that there isn't a lot of that either, but we sometimes see all the glory and trying to drive to move to this professional space. And you've already touched on some of the realities, right? Your dedication doesn't end when the season ends. Your dedication doesn't end when the last whistle blows. It's continual. So maybe just to shift gears here before we get into sort of how you got to where you got to, how do you remain where you got to, I guess, and where you are, like how do you find your balance and how do you find time for your family? And obviously these are things that take additional work. So it's tricky, it's tough, but have you found some solutions that work for you in the space?
That's a real tough question, James, and I'm glad that you bring it up, because I don't think I'm the only one who has to fight that battle. And sometimes I ask myself that very question: how do other people do it? Because I don't necessarily think that I have the winning recipe. Um, I feel like I have a recipe that currently works, but is subject to evolve at any given moment. But if there's one thing that I can say is my sort of I don't want to say tombstone, but like you know my rock, or the thing that I base all of it on, um, I'd have to say it's my wife. So first of all, she's allowed me to live my dream, because I mean, let's face it, as ATs, we go into school, and the first thing that we think of is, I want to go into pro sports. That's what I want to do. That's the dream.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so we sat down one day, and I said, listen, this is really what I want to do. I'm going to leave everything behind, and I'm going to focus 100% of my energy on this. And she's like, go live your dream, and I'm your ride or die, and we're gonna do this together. And so that journey started in 2015, and we're now 2021. A marriage, two houses, a kid, a dog later, and still here.
And a
Uh,
pandemic, and a
oh
pandemic.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
forget that
Let's
one.
not forget the pandemic.
We always have to include that in the equation. Well, I think that's crucial, right? Like having a partner who understands, having a partner who can, relate, whether she is or he is or they are in the field that you're in or not. They can understand and relate, and it becomes, yes, your dream, your reality, but that support network is obviously critical. Whether it's an uncle, a sister, a brother, a coworker, a colleague, somebody at home, that support network is massive, and to sort of have that in place as you go through is massive, and it's not an easy role, but there is plenty of good that comes from working in the pro space. You get to see the world, you get to work with the top level athletes, you get to call a soccer pitch an office. There's plenty that comes along with that, and we'll get into some of that. It's really interesting. I just want to go, I was watching, like, for the first time I started watching this program, and I don't watch a lot of TV, and when I do, it's usually like sports or behind the scenes Biodocs or something like this. All or None is a thing they put on about the Michigan Wolverines in I don't know when it was, but this season was 2017. And the one thing that I took away from it, I've watched maybe 2 episodes, and the one thing I took away is Jim Harbaugh's daughter got her ear pierced, and she's, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the episode. She gets her ear pierced and gets an infection. Well, his wife says, we got to get her to the doctor, and he says, let's take her to the trainers. Like, let's just take her to the athletic trainers, and that's the U.S. slogan or terminology for an athletic therapist, right? So I just found that, like, if you're an athletic therapist, you get that. If you're an athletic trainer in the pro space or in the university setting or wherever you are, and you have a team that you're responsible for, or a series of athletes that you're responsible for, you become so much more than just for those athletes, right? Making calls for people's wives and girlfriends and, families and flights and all these other things that go into it. You become so connected to so much more than the athletes. Maybe you can touch on that a little bit without any sort of names or anything like that, obviously, but do you experience that in your day-to-day where somebody's kid gets sick, or you need to intervene for something because you're there?
Absolutely. And you hit it like right on the money. This thing here is with me wherever I go.
Yeah, your cell phone.
Yeah. I have it with me all the time. And by the way, it happens to be an iPhone. No way or shape am I, you know what I mean?
But maybe after you get a sponsorship out of it.
Apple, hint, hint. Anyhow, I carry this thing with me wherever I go, and that's actually one of the things that my wife tells me. She's like, "You're always connected. No matter when, you're always on that thing." And I just wish sometimes that you can just put it away. But fact of the matter is, being the head of that department, you just can't, because you get those phone calls not only from the athletes, but from the athletes' families, from the doctors, from the GM, from the head coach, even from the president sometimes, so you got to be connected. You got to be available at all times, so as to talk about such and such daughter or such and such wife, or the athlete himself feeling under the weather or what have you not. So yes, you're right. You got to be connected all the time, and honestly, it's tiresome. It's really difficult to deal with sometimes, because you want to be able to put it away and create some time for yourself or for your family, but it comes with the territory, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think these are important lessons for those of us, to either refresh or to become accustomed to in the athletic therapy space. As you touched on, going through school, that's a large percentage of students' ideal, right? To get to the pro space. And it doesn't just happen going straight to MLS, right? There's stops along the way. You got to work along the way. There's a lot of stick-to-itiveness. There's perseverance. There's ups, there's downs, there's all those things. And then even when you get there, the demand is so high for your time and for all of these other things. You and I have had an opportunity to connect on numerous projects. We did a COVID panel back through the CATA. You and I have overlapped on conversations through various means. We were just talking about a common strength coach who worked for you out in the Montreal way, who was a football athlete while I was working at York University. There's a lot of commonalities, and there's a lot of good that comes out of this community in very a small network space. With that said, like, you've also, I was humbled by the fact that you enrolled in like this recalibration workshop that we put on in January, and you sat and you sat with some meditation and some breathing techniques that we put on, and to have you there and to sort of have your reflections as to, like, I understand. I've been in that pro space where you're going 100 miles a minute and you got a phone that doesn't stop working, and you got to do all those things, because I've been in those shoes, maybe not to the capacity that you're in as a head with the MLS. Does any of that stuff sort of help you? We talk about being connected all the time. I think there's an element when we're so connected that way, we become disconnected to ourselves. And so that's kind of the goal of the recalibration workshops, and not to make this about those whatsoever, but have you found the opportunity to sort of sit down with yourself and give yourself 2 minutes or 3 breaths to sort of be just you?
So on that note, 2 things. Number 1, alternate nostril breathing is the most difficult thing I've ever had to do in my life. Okay.
It's not an
And
easy
it
one.
still it still is, with like the weeks of practice that I've been putting into it. Alternate nostril breathing is a difficult thing. However, when you do it, it's like you feel this clarity. It's almost like I try. I'm a science guy, so
Yep.
I like to understand the why behind things. And in this specific, I still don't understand it, but after you've done it, it's like you feel this rush in your face, and then it goes down your body. It's cool. It's really really cool.
I love that. Yeah.
That's one. Two, as it pertains to breathing. So before doing the recalibration course with you, I already, I was already doing that, and I usually do it at night
Hmm.
before going to bed. It just sort of helps me bring it all down a notch, because
100%.
the moment you wake up, if it's not your phone that woke you up because of an athlete or because the doctor wanted to talk to you, it's your kid who wakes up at the wee hours of the morning, and then you just hear a tup, 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 tup into your room, and papa, let's go downstairs and watch Paw Patrol, and it's like, okay, the day has begun. So
You don't get to dictate that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. So yeah, the those are the two takeaways that I took from the course, and from life in general, being in this world. To be honest with you, the breathing and the calmness, I took it from this TV show called Billions.
Hmm.
I can't remember the name of the lead actor, but he has this quiet room that he just goes into, and then he meditates for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, if this multi-gazillionaire is doing it, I mean, in the TV show,
Yeah.
why aren't normal people doing it, and why aren't we talking about this stuff?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a great talking point. I mean, we could probably go on about this and its value and all these kinds of things. I think, again, like for somebody who has their phone all the time and is connected and has, a kid and family and a dog and all these things. I mean, and good for you for yours being like a gentle wake up, papa, papa. Mine is like a double knee drop typically to the to the ribs, and that's a violent alarm clock, but it's pretty good. It'll jumpstart the nervous system, that's for sure. But yeah, using that breath to centralize and connect to the true self, right? And like just coming back to the thing that matters the most. I think those are critical points in a pandemic. Those are critical points in a job that is very, very taxing in what you do. So let's rewind. We'll flip it around a little bit and go back to where this all started, right? This was a seedling at one point, and you're now like this massive oak tree. Like with your growth and your development in the profession, where did the seed start for you in the athletic therapy and strength and conditioning areas?
Just a quick note here. I'm in no way, shape, or form an oak as of yet. I feel
Choose
like
your own tree, man. Choose your own kind.
I feel like there's the ceiling is sort of topless. The capacity for you to learn is just endless, and but yes, just like you said, it starts from a seed, and then it grows. And I want to dial this back to like when I was 18 years old, which is like a long time ago. And I dislocated my shoulder playing basketball.
Mhm.
So and by the way, it seems like it's a going theme, like ATs or physical therapists go into that domain because they hurt themselves, and they want to understand how their body hurt themselves, and how to do the rehab, and what have you not. So dislocate my shoulder, relocate it myself, and which was dangerous. Kids, do not do this at home. And then it went away, and then a year later it dislocated again, and this time it was bad. I couldn't put it back, so we had to go to the hospital, and then they sedate me, and it pop it back in. Okay, you're gonna have to do a consult with an ortho because it's multiple times it comes out. Go home, go to sleep, and we'll revisit. um I go home, I go to bed, I'm wearing the sling, right? And I can't sleep with the sling, so I'm like, screw this, take this sling off and go to bed. And I wake up at 4 a.m. with my shoulder out in bed. So I was like, oh man, this is trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my first surgery on the left shoulder, go through the rehab. Everything is good. A year later, I'm playing basketball again, and pop, the right one pops out, and I'm like, oh no, not again. I'm not gonna wait for it to keep popping and become super loose for me to do surgery. So I end up just going to see the same surgeon. I'm like, just do it, like at this point. At that time, the whole concept of physical therapy to sort of rehab your joints and what have you not wasn't really a big thing. I want to say this is back like in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the surgery, and then I go back to the same center where I was doing my rehab, and I'm like storming through it. And there was a guy that was next to me who had the same surgery, and he was doing his exercises, and I'm like, oh no, you're doing it wrong, you got to do it this way. Oh no, you're doing it this one wrong, you got to do it that way. And then the physical therapist would come to me and say, hey, Karam, you can't be doing this, you can't give that, they have a certain protocol that they got to follow. So you're, and that's where the love for therapy as profession came, and I'm like, man, if I like it that much, then I should probably make it a goal to make this my profession. So I joined Concordia University Department of Exercise Science and specialize in athletic therapy, with this idea of working with the general public, not necessarily athletes. And then one day I was watching TV. I think it was I don't know if you recall this, but it was like NBA jam session. Like they'd show you like behind the scenes snippets.
Right. Yeah.
And there was this strength and conditioning coach by the name of Steve Hess. I don't know if you know him, but he's been in the league for like 20 somewhat years, worked with the Denver Nuggets. And so I was watching this and I was fascinated by it. I'm like, wow, look at all the stuff this guy is doing, and like just it was just fascinating. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And okay, how did he get there? And it as it turns out, he was running a gym, his own, fitness studio, but it was a big fitness studio. So I'm like, okay, so I gotta graduate from Concordia, get certified, get CSCS, and then from there I gotta go to a gym, and I gotta work in a gym and get recognized there, and then from there, that's when I'll be able to make the jump into pro sports. And so I did that, and I kept working in the gym year after year, and I'm like, hey, like this is not happening, and although the opportunities were there every time I'd send out a CV, I wouldn't they wouldn't select me, and the major reason was I didn't have enough experience working with athletes as a population,
Okay.
Which brings me back to your point. How do you get there? And it's really, really important for students of the game to get exposed to as much of that stuff as possible in a varsity setting, in a college setting, a high school setting, even go out and do internships and come in and work for free almost, because that experience is just gonna get harvested into your CV. And when you end up sending out your CV to other places, people are going to look and go, oh, okay, he knows what the grind is all about, because he's worked there, he's done this, he's done that, and what have you not. So that's my
I think Yeah, and I appreciate the sharing because there's so much value in your experience, right? And so you carved this out by seeing what somebody was doing, by figuring out how they got there, and then navigating your own sort of manner in which to do that. How do I follow that? I do AT. I want the CSCS. I want that dual credential. That's important to me. So I think that's the one piece of academia, maybe like the schooling part of things that we don't. Maybe I don't say we don't, but that we don't. Let's just say it anyway. We don't necessarily pour our time into as we go through school. Right?
Mhm.
Is how to navigate those areas, how to figure out what it is that you want. And if you don't know, the nice part about athletic therapy and strength and conditioning is any human being that walks in the room, you can help. But
Mhm.
if you have a niche and if your goal is professional sport or high level sport or high level executives or whatever the case might be, finding your niche and connecting with people that have done it
Mhm.
is would you say like critical? Would you say that's a thing that we need to do better at providing support within our community, maybe for directing this with students as they're coming out, for navigating these conversations so that more people have access to them?
Absolutely, absolutely. I really think it is crucial. It is critical to get the students within the departments and the various universities that are harvesting those students opportunities to work in pro sports and have them understand what the grind is all about. And they I don't want to sound like I'm hating or anything, but I feel like as the years have been going by, um, people are starting to assume that, well, I did this, then I need to get it handed to me on a silver platter kind of thing.
Mhm.
And it's really important to know that nothing in this life is just going to be handed to you. You got to work. You got to work countless hours with sometimes no thank yous, no gratitude, nothing whatsoever to get to where you are. It's crucial for them to understand that nothing will be handed to you. You got
Yeah.
to work for it.
Yeah, and it's nice when it is nice when you can go to your closet and it looks like, I don't know if you know Inspector Gadget, but like you just open the door and you're like, oh, am I gonna wear the gray overcoat or the gray overcoat? The CF Montreal shirt or the other like what am I gonna wear? It's nice when your wardrobe's made for you. That part's really, really nice in the pro sport. And I don't think you are. I don't think you're hating on anything. I think you're a realist. I think you're in it. None of this comes off as I don't love where I'm at, but there are certain realities I think that these types of discussions can generate and allow people to resonate with, or give them the side of you're in it, man. Like you are the expert here. So to hear you speak about it is great, and to earn it is to be there. You must understand. You must follow. You must be the fly on the wall before you become the fly in the ointment, or the ointment applier in this case. And I think these are the things that are lessons along the way. In terms of hours, you mentioned hours, and long and thankless hours are a thing. I think that's probably true in a lot of jobs and a lot of scenarios, but in the sports world, this is definitely true. Your days in season, how do those look in terms of the number of hours? Like sometimes we see, okay, soccer game, and as fans, I mean, we know it from being within it, but as fans, we look at it and we say, okay, there's a 3 hour game. So that's like a 3 hour workday, man. Must be pretty good. You get to go to a soccer game and then you're out of there, right? What does an in-season day look like in the life of an MLS head athletic therapist?
Well, I'm gonna dial it back just a little bit because I do not want to leave out a crucial part of the season, and that's the preseason. So training
100%.
camp.
Mhm.
So training camp would start at around 7:30. I want to say. Uh, you've eaten breakfast and you're in the training room. 7:30, 8 o'clock. Practice is about starts at about 10:30. So you're in treating guys. They're periodically coming in, and if you're not treating, then you're setting up for practice. And we all know that there's an entire setup that you gotta do for practice. Then you cover practice. and ensure that nothing happens during practice. After practice, you go back, you try to grab a little something to eat, and then start treating guys for the second round of practice, because you don't just practice once a day, it's doubles, so
yeah, of course.
you might be lucky, and the first practice was so hard that most of your guys are going to try and get a nap in between the two practices, but then you've got guys that are hurting and what have you not, so they'll come in either for a quick release or a massage, or they've actually twisted their ankle or what have you not, so you got to work on that stuff and
Right.
just ensure that they're in tip-top shape for round two happens at around, I want to say, 4 or 5 o'clock. They go for another hour and a half, and we can't forget, we got to set up again and then break down again, and then you go for a quick dinner at around maybe 7ish, 7:30, and then you've got your night owls who went to sleep or got that nap in between while you were working, that come in for treatment, because they're like, well, at least there's that window since I missed the first one, and so they'll get treatment. So your day will typically end at around, if you're lucky, 8:30, 9 p.m. And if you're not, then it could go all the way up to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And then once all that is done, you're finished your athletes, you sort of got to meet with the team and go over the squad to figure out, who's in, who's out for the next day, and obviously chart everything that you've done. And then you got to go and meet with the head coach and tell him, hey, coach, this is what's going on, for him to set up for the following day. Then you can go and sleep, and then you press repeat. And you do that for, round one would be about 14, 17 days. Round two would be pretty much the same thing. And then the season starts. So, that's where I was, that's why I was going with the whole nothing gets served to you. You come into the pro sport environment. You got to come in with this idea of, you can't be saying, I made it, I'm here. It's okay, you made it now. Now you got to show what you're made of, because you got to have a real thick skin to be able to maneuver 15 to 17 hour days, continuously.
Yeah, a thick skin and some, hopefully some practices where you can find your way to a water fountain or a bathroom, or make good choices with meals. And so these are other things too. Like, we give out a lot of education to athletes, and I think sometimes we miss it ourselves. And
Yes.
so these are important pieces for therapists as well. It's like the advice you're giving, we also have to do our best to lead and live, right? Because to stay on your feet for 16, 18 hours a day, repeat just to get to the off day, and there is no off day, because that's the day when 3 roster moves are going to happen, or a trade's going to happen, or somebody's going to get in a car wreck, or their uncle or something. Anyway, something seems to happen on those days off. So we really do have to emphasize that self-care piece, I think, in the practice, as well as being a professional, right? Strength coach, chiropractor, physio, athletic therapist, whatever the case may be, that self-care goes a long way. So those are obvious, like, long days during in-season or preseason. In-season follows sort of a similar routine. What does a day look like on a match day in soccer?
So a regular practice day would start at around 7 and usually would end at around 4:30. So you come in the morning. You have a quick recap of the day before with your staff. And then you prep for practice before the guys come in. Guys usually start trickling in at around 8:30. Practice is usually at 10:30, so they come in, get a quick treatment, do their activation. Sometimes some of them will go grab a quick bite to eat before doing that at the cafeteria. And then practice starts at around 10:30, and for the most part, it's structured, but you never know. Sometimes if the head coach does not like what he sees, he's gonna grind the guys, and he's just gonna, ensure that whatever he's trying to implement gets through to them. So sometimes, and I'm not saying that they're working the entire time. Sometimes he'll be talking to them one on one. Okay, you got to be doing this. You got to be doing that. What have you not? The guys will start trickling in at around 12:30. Some of them, if they have prescribed lifts or what have you not, they'll go to the gym and do what they have to do. Others will come into the treatment room, get some soft tissue work done, and then you go to the meal room and have a quick bite to eat before coming back, and again breaking the day down with your staff, and sending a report to the head coach about who's in, who's out for the next day. And at around, I want to say 4ish, we're pretty much done and ready to leave. That's just a typical day. A game day is a little bit different, because if you've got injured guys, you still have to take care of them. So it's not because it's a game day and the guy's not on the roster sheet that he doesn't get to be seen by us. So it's pretty much split into two parts. You've got your injured guys that you see in the morning, right, that you take care of, and it sort of leads into a segue of the rostered guys, or the guys playing the game, coming in a little bit later in the afternoon. So you see the injured guys, or guys that are not on the list in the morning, they leave. The guys on the list come in the afternoon. You see them pre-game, what have you not. Then we go to the stadium, because we're doing this in our training facility initially. Then we make our way to the stadium.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then you sort of do what you have to do at the stadium in terms of setup for them for the game. Then you cover the game, and then you break it down at the end of the day. Same thing. You give the coach the rundown on who's in, who's out, who got injured during the game, what have you not. So game days are a typical example of what like a training camp day would be like. So it'll start pretty early, mm-hmm, say 8-9, and it'll end at around 11:30 at night, because of the games are usually at 7:30,
right?
Whereas a normal work day is normal hours, so to speak, 7 to 4.
Yeah, normal-ish, with lots going on behind the scenes. You touched on your head coach. You have a good one there. Well-known soccer guy, right? In Thierry Henry is the head coach, right? With you now at CF Montreal. Kind of amazing to have a guy like that who's been on the world stage come in and lead the troops. He obviously knows the sport. He obviously knows the mentality and what works. From a therapy standpoint, there's obviously things that you have to be able to communicate, right, with soccer language and timing of information and how you're getting the information to the coach. So communication, professionalism, like all of these things are high quality characteristics that are desirable and necessary in the pro space. Are there others that jump out to you of things that, like, maybe we don't learn them in school, but here's something that you really got to be diligent with if you're going to work in this pro space?
That's a very, very good question, and you hit it once again. Communication is the biggest piece. It's mm-hmm, really, really big. You need to be able to know how to communicate with the head coach, and that's an entire thing on its own. Then you've got the doctors, then you've got the strength coach, then you've got the your co-workers, and then you've got the athlete, and each pillar, I should say, represents a certain style of communication, and so you need to be able to sort of maneuver through those styles and be able to sort of discuss fluently with all of these individuals. So communication is key.
Yep.
And one other thing is, and that actually is like a motto that I live by. It's working in silence and letting the success of the team be your noise. you know. um, you want to make sure that you're going into the pro sport environment for the right reasons. If you're going in there because you want to be like, yo, you know, I'm partying with the players, or I'm going out to, you know, eat lunch, eat dinner with them, or just being in that environment because you know that there are cameras there and there's like media coverage and what have you not, then you're not necessarily doing it for the right reasons, you know. It's you got to always bring it back a notch, because we're, you know, we're the support staff. We're the people that work in the shadows so as to make sure that whatever is out there is shining, you know.
Yeah.
So those would be the two big things that I would want to, you know, bring forth.
Amazing stuff. And again, like coming back around to shifting into either entrepreneurial status or owning a clinic or working in the pro space or working in a multi-professional tier where there's interdisciplinary approaches and you're working with various people who may or may not understand certain terminology, certain anatomical terms or physiology, these things, like understanding how to communicate and who is in front of you in order to receive the message, as well as how to deliver that message. Great points, man. I think this is critical. And some of the things that, not to point fingers, but like in school, these are things that there's not a lot of time spent on, but this is the experiential gain, right? Like this is my placement with, look how he or she communicates. How does that work? You don't get to sit in as an intern on the meetings with the GM, but maybe there's a way to ask that head therapist, that head trainer, that strength coach, that chiropractor, like how exactly do you deliver information when you go to meet with, I just remember like doing internships when JP Ricciardi was there, and then with the Blue Jays and Alex Anthopoulos, and now it's Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins. These are very, very different people with very, very different approaches. And so understanding, you know, how to get that information to and from and what they want, right, is critical, because you're in a place of service, but at the same time, like you're doing a ton of work that goes in every direction. So these are amazing shares.
And if I were to like, you know, just throw one other thing, it's don't try to sugarcoat anything. Just say it how it is, and remember that you are the messenger. You know, you don't make the news, you just report it. You know, as our chief medical officer usually says, Dr. Delaney, I love that guy. He says, Karam, we don't make the news, we just report it. Okay, so you gotta make sure that you don't sugarcoat anything. You just say it how it is, and you know, let them deal with whatever they need to deal with afterwards. So
100%. And that also like aligns with all the other things that you've touched on, right? Like communication and being there all the time. So you have a pulse of what's going on and how to deliver and when to deliver. And it's not necessarily like I'm going to run out on the field to tell the coach that, you know, I got to go to the bathroom, right? Like these kinds of things. So it's great, man. These are shares from inside that go a long, long way. It is the Super Bowl. We did it off of camera or off of recording prior to. Let's go shift gears completely to your prediction. We'll go winning team and score for tonight.
No,
top of mind, man. Just let it roll.
Top of mind. So do I let my heart speak, or do I let my mind speak? Hey, I'm gonna go
art or science, man. Art or science, you choose.
Chiefs, and they're gonna cover the spread.
Okay, I think it's, where's it at right now? What spread are you looking at? 2.5, I think, something 3.5.
So I'm gonna say 28-21 Chiefs.
Oh wow! All right, all right, nice. I love that. That's great. I won't give you mine just for the sake of you're the man here. You're in charge. You're the boss, and we'll go from there. It is Super Bowl Sunday. It is session 59. First start. Let's chat an athletic therapy round table with Karam Al-Hamdani of CF Montreal in the MLS, in association with the Canadian Athletic Therapy Association. Brought to you by First Star Therapy and Mobility Tape, the only heat-activated kinesiology tape on the market. We are not done just yet. So you get to the pitch. You have all of this time spent actually on the field, the performance team, the performance personnel. You're built into this web space, this design of enhanced performance on the field. So the guys go out, they're getting ready, they're on the field. You have elements of where do you have a role? Obviously, you're watching them move. development of warm-up, development of neuromuscular programming? What points of the neuromuscular training are you emphasizing? Is all of that built in with you, in conjunction with you, or does strength and conditioning handle that? How does it work in your space?
So I've been really lucky in a sense where when I started working with CF Montreal, I came in as an assistant. Mm-hmm. So and I had the chance to work with a York University graduate, actually, Paolo Paccioni, who was the director of performance at the time. We really exchanged a lot of great ideas as it pertains to corrective exercise, activations, and what have you not. So yeah, we from a medical standpoint take care of all that stuff. We usually build preseason screens that we do on our athletes, and we base all of our philosophy of corrective exercise and neuromuscular activation, what have you not, on all of those screens that we do preseason. I've also had the chance to work alongside Richard Collins, who is currently the head of medical for West Ham United in the English Premier League, who also showed us a variety of different things to add into the continuum. But a lot of what we focus on from a medical perspective is what happens on a bed-based, what happens in the gym from a corrective standpoint, and then we create that space as a segue to allow our strength and conditioning and performance department assume some of that role and allow for that athlete to go from okay, he's feeling this or he's feeling that, to okay, he's not feeling it anymore. Let's go into the performance side of things and work on enhancing whatever pattern we've addressed, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. And another great pickup in terms of like just navigating the space. You're getting lots of overlap with different people along the way through experience, through, that's nonstop work on your part too, to continually grow, continually evolve in the practice and from within the space. And then that word continuum, like it's not fixed, it is a continuum. It flows together. There's some fluidity from start to finish, and that warm up to cool down and everything in between, regardless of if it's in the training room or on the field. You've got a pulse. At least you understand what's going on, you're contributing to it, or that communication is coming to and through you as sort of the head therapist with the program. One more in terms of the logistics with CF Montreal. What does the team look like in terms of number of staff that you have from a medical standpoint? How many ATs are there? Multiple practitioners in terms of disciplines? How does that look?
So we've got on staff 3 certified ATs, myself included. We've got 1 massage therapist who's been with the club for the longest. She's actually our best hidden gem, Laurence Godin. She does wonders on our athletes. We have a strength and conditioning coach. We've got 2 interns that are working as from a data analysis standpoint, that we've put on certain projects to work so as to explore what we've got in terms of data. And then you've got the coaching staff. That's a group of 6, or I should say 7, because they also have a video analyst who actually helps us a great deal, because a lot of times if we're during the game sometimes, or during practice, because all practices are taken on video, if a guy gets injured or what have you not, you go to the video analyst, you're like, hey, listen, we think that he may have gotten injured between this time and this time. Can you just go through the video so that we can look at the action what he may have done that caused that injury to occur. So video analysis is a big thing that we use within our department. We also have external contractors, consultants.
Okay.
We've got an AT osteopath, and fortunately she's worked with us at the academy level way back when. And so we use her whenever we run into roadblocks where, our eyes are not necessarily picking onto something that might be going on in the body. Okay. We've got 4 doctors, 1 chief medical officer, and then 1 ortho, and 2 assistants to the chief medical officer that fill in that role if ever he's unavailable. So it's a pretty big staff.
It's a big tree and a lot to communicate. A lot of branches and all of those things that you've touched on become that much more critical when you have an understanding of who's where, who needs the information, and what gets lost if they don't get that information, or if you don't have the information to present, and one of those people comes at you with some questions about it. So no doubt an ongoing process for you, a continual growth for you, and a regular usage of your phone to do all those things. So technology can work wonders. It can also be a bit of a hindrance. With that said, I think we're pushing sort of 45 minutes and beyond here, and I know it's a Sunday, and I know you've given your time, and I am completely grateful and humbled by the fact that you would come on here and give your time away. I know how valuable it is. Really, really appreciate it. And for everybody who's here live, thank you so much for being here, picking up the podcast, picking up the YouTube channel. This has been amazing. It's growing. We are right butting up against 4,000 downloads now, and I feel like we're just going to bust through this thing, and lots of growth through these conversations that really matter, Karam. The way you present your material, what you do for those athletes and for that organization and for your family, and for me, to be quite honest, to have you as an ambassador, but as a friend and a colleague, and to know that there are so many amazing people, one of which I have connected through a pandemic with, and hope to continue to grow this friendship, this collegial atmosphere in the profession of athletic therapy. It's been an honor, man. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is mine, James. An honor, truly an honor, and a pleasure to be on your podcast and on your show. And hey, you know what? 2 ideas. Idea number 1, we need to interview you, and I'll be the host. I don't mind doing that. And idea number 2, we co-host. So one day you and me, and we interview someone else.
I'm in for the second one for sure. Maybe not the first one, but I love it, man. This has been great. Again, this is session 59 of First Start Let's Chat and Athletic Therapy Roundtable in association with the CATA, brought to you by First Start Therapy and Mobility Tape. We have session 60 going next Sunday, back in the regular time slot, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be our first ever repeat guest and our first ever educational series. So part 1 of 4 of our Tommy John ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction education session, series 104. So it's a 4-part series. Leading off is Mike Frostad. He is the assistant athletic trainer with the Atlanta Braves, a colleague, a friend, an athletic therapist, and an athletic trainer through the NATA. He will lead us through UCL diagnosis, UCL rehab, and the surgical procedure for throwing athletes in that space. So Karam, again, thank you so much, man. Session 59. We'll sign off here and talk soon. All right.
Peace.
Thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this community. Check us out online, firststartherapy.com. That's FIRSTAR therapy.com. Or email us with feedback, consult@firststartherapy.com, CONSULT@firststartherapy.com, on Instagram @firststar.therapy, and our podcast host @letschat.nh. This is First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast.